Here I go, leaving my mom's house. Wow. I sure hope this thing's recording. This wall never used to be here. This was a big field. And then there was a 4-lane street, 79th. And then there was another big field. That big field up there is now totally full of buildings. This is the park I used to play in. Hopefully there'll be hockey rinks out there soon. A lot of the stuff that used to be here is gone. Yeah, just kind of the neighborhood. Hopefully you can see some of the houses here. It's hard to tell what I'm filming when I'm not able to look, but it is what it is. Not going to drive down my same block. I don't want to freak my mom out. As you can see, typical Minnesota houses for the most part. A couple of one-stories, mostly two with real steep roofs. This, I believe, is new on the right, the two-story thing. Typical little houses with a surprising amount of room, because they all have basements and almost all of them have finished upstairs as well. This is just weird. A couple of these buildings were here. This was never 6 lanes wide. Now this is 2nd Avenue again, where I lived. That's a bridge that we used to walk across. Usually inside the cage, very occasionally when we were young and stupid, up along the I-beams, holding onto the fence and across the freeway. Justin, if this records and you hear that, don't do it. Some of these buildings were here, not all of them. These plazas are here forever, have been here forever. A lot of new things. Mall of America would be to the left. Not that close. So now we're going to do a little educational tour. Basically, we're going to see where I went to school. And I know I drove a little bit of a roundabout way, but this is how I had to walk to school every day for the most part. Although I knew many shortcuts that made it 10 times as long. Now, this will be my elementary school in front. It's now a Muslim community center. Where it says Al Farouk Gymnasium, that was not there. Rest of it was. Used to be called Northgate Elementary School. You know, gonna hope they're not like, you know, nah, I'm not even gonna make jokes. We'll call it a community center, that's what it says. Now, I'm going to go back over to the main street, just because it'll be a little faster. These houses are a little newer over here. So we're back on Portland Avenue. Notice speed limits are a little lower here. 35. This would be a 40 to 50, 40, 45 mile an hour road in Florida. Camera adjustment. And to the right. Might have helped, might have hurt. Hard to say. The next school we're going to was Portland Junior High School. I'm going to go ahead and swing through, even though school is open. Bike rack still in the same place. This was 1 block within the bus zone, so I could actually ride the bus. It was not any faster to ride the bus. It was drier, though. School had a very nice theater in it for plays and stuff. It also had a very large swimming pool for an indoor pool, and 4 baseball courts. Diamonds, sorry. And in the winter, we had our cross-country ski team. We would our track would be all the way around the field area. This area that'll be to my left as I make the turn is Valley View Park. It's where the swimming pool was, or still is. They've changed it a bit. It doesn't have the platforms we used to dive off of. But they have like an aquatic park. That's what's coming up. Again, on the left, you can see, strangely, the pool is closed, being as it would be frozen. But I spent a lot of time there as a kid, riding our bikes up. It was exactly a mile to ride the bikes up 2nd Avenue. fair amount of snow, for November. Mostly it's colder than usual. But if you look at like these split log fences over here, that bottom log by January or so would definitely be under snow. And there'll be normally about a foot of sitting snow in the yards. We get more snow, obviously, but it would drift away. Okay, and again, I'm not going to adjust the camera as I pull through the school, but I will drive through the school. This will be where I went to high school, Kennedy Senior High. Big round part of the building was the 3-story classrooms. Hollow in the middle, there's an atrium, which is really neat. Or, it was. I'm sure it still probably is. We did not have speed bumps when I was here. Which is convenient since, we all had crappy cars that we thought were muscle cars. So we spent most of our time, doing burnouts and antisocial things like that. And this is student parking here. Those would be non-driving students. The only thing I believe is new is that concrete portion of the building. Industrial arts and all that stuff's in the square area. You can see more online. Or I could just pull in and see it. But just film it that way. Alright? It's a pretty big school. We had lots of shop classes, lots of gymnasiums. It's like some of it's been added or rebuilt. I think they just extended it a little bit. Okay, we've done that. We will now go to International Village, the first apartment I ever had. Lived in the Lotus building. I think our apartment was number 123. It was either Lotus 123 or 231, can't remember. They have an indoor swimming pool, outdoor swimming pool, and at the time I lived here, it was predominantly airline people. I'm skidding, so I can't turn. If you heard that little grindy noise, that's my anti-lock brakes freaking out because I'm sliding on ice at 3 miles an hour. The garage door directly in front of me, the second one, is where I used to keep my little MG. Number 28. I can't believe I remembered that. Garage rentals were separate. Anyway, just a little tour of a few things. We'll be perturbed if this camera is not actually on. Yeah, big swerve just to try and get the building in a little bit. Had a lot of fun here. Again, a little bit newer area. My mom's house was actually the first house built on the block. And the other ones came up afterwards, probably in a period of about 6 months. But that was the first one. It was like the show house, or whatever you want to call it, model home. Now, this is interesting because this has changed a little bit. They got these interesting new traffic lights. I haven't quite figured them out, how they control the traffic. They seem to work. Apparently they just don't like you to make left turns because you have to wait forever. Yeah, we'll run that. I'm very happy that everything is still set back and not encroaching real close to the road. There's a Wendy's and where the Wendy's is, to my left, I don't know if that showed in the camera, is where I believe Beanie's Arcade was. That was a fun job. A lot has changed. There's traffic lights where there didn't used to be traffic lights. That's nice. David Fong's has been here forever. I know I'm supposed to be headed to Florida. I'm headed north, but there's just some place I gotta go before I leave. And I've already been there twice. I have to eat at Devani's again. Great Bear Center on my left. I'm really glad to see that the old sign that's been there forever is still there. And the Sports Page Bar and Grill. There's many beers consumed there. The U-Haul building has always been here. You know, it looks a little dirty because of the snow plowing and stuff, but everything actually, to me, looks very clean. A lot of these buildings are real old, and they're still in really good shape. The location I'm going to for Devani's is not the one that I worked at. But it's enjoyable to go here, and fun part is I see the driver's wanted sign. I was the first delivery driver in the history of Devani's. Which cracks me up. It doesn't mean anything to anybody else, but you know, what the hell. drive very slow in some of this stuff.